Hey friend, it's Pastor Ray. So glad you're listening to this. I don't know if this has ever happened to you, but I'll bet it has. Last night we had an infestation of ants in our house. I mean, we've got ant spray out. We've got brooms. We've got all of this kind of stuff. That ever happened to you? I mean, they're everywhere, and it's hard to get rid of these things, and they can come back, and you sort of never know what it's going to happen, and you just hope it doesn't happen in your own bed, okay? And so we have this infestation of ants, and that started me thinking a little research on ants. Are you aware that some ants can actually live up to 30 years? That's like a scary scientific fact, okay? Another thing is this. One psychologist said to a friend of mine, you actually have ants in your brain. You can get ants in your brain. And it's like, what, ants? And he goes, not that kind of ant. And here's what he said. You can get an ant in your brain. And he said, what is it? And he said, it's an automatic negative thought, ant. Automatic negative thoughts. And that those things happen, and every time, by the way, that's happened to me repeatedly, especially in the last 4 years. Everybody's having these rising levels of everything's not going to work out, everything's going to be bad, and I've got automatic negative thoughts rolling through my head, which means I imagine the worst outcome. I imagine the worst thing that could happen. I automatically assume everything's going to go bad. All of us know what that feels like, okay? And the problem is this, you don't want to live that way. Matter of fact, it was funny. I said to my wife the other day, I just realized I had been negative and all this stuff's going to go wrong. And why this, why that? And why did my phone work? Why did my computer work? All this kind of stuff. And I was just so negative. And I finally said, honey, I am really sorry. And I'm a pastor and this stuff shouldn't happen to me, but I'm a human being and so are you. So what do you do to break the cycle of destructive, negative, automatically negative thoughts that all of us have been patterned to have, especially in the last 4 years, okay? That's where the book of Acts comes in. Because when you turn to the book of Acts, God's people get a fresh, new start in Acts chapter 1. And then what happens is this. You have this incredible 28-chapter book, which we're going to spend 6 months in. You have this incredible 28-chapter book, and it really answers one question. What should today's Christians learn from the early Christians? What should you and I learn from God's people back then? Okay, and I want to give you one verse, Acts chapter 1, verse 3. I mean, the book's just starting, and he says this, after his suffering, Jesus showed himself to these men and gave many convincing proofs. There it is, many convincing proofs that he was alive, That then led to them being confident. In other words, because he bounced back, I can bounce back. Because Jesus rose, my life can rise. Because I get my eyes on Jesus, then anything's possible, okay? The Gallup organization did an interesting study years ago. All they did was ask one question. If you eliminated automatic negative thoughts and it were replaced with confidence, how different would your life be? Like everything else is the same. Your past history is the same. Your parental upbringing was the same. Your finances are the same. The government's the same. Nothing else changed in your circumstances except for one thing. You were slightly more confident. Would your life be any different? And here is what they said. When somebody has a rise in confidence, and this is the nationwide survey, Gallup organization, they said the minute somebody's confidence level goes up, they automatically become more successful, more satisfied, more willing to help other people in need. You become physically healthier. You hold yourself to higher moral and ethical standards. You're more likely to assume leadership, so you make a difference. You have better relationships, more satisfying. You are more productive. You're less affected by stress. And here's the big one. And you're more likely to see God as caring, loving, and forgiving. You know, there's nothing can change your life in a raise of confidence in God and the promise of God that then eliminate the automatic negative stuff that drives my wife crazy when I'm stuck in that cycle, okay? And the early Christians, when their confidence rose, and we're going to be studying the book of Acts, and if this gets too exciting, just grab the person next to you if you're in a car. Keep your eyes on the road. You study the book of Acts. When Christians' confidence rose, how did it get demonstrated? It showed in 4 ways. Number one is they were not afraid to take risks. They were not afraid to take God on a risk. We just launched the church at Auburn. That was a risk. They weren't afraid to take risks. Number 2 is this. They were not afraid to give sacrificially. I mean, Acts. I mean, they're taking offerings. They're doing amazing stuff. Number 3 is this. They were not afraid to share their faith. And number 4 is this. They were not afraid to believe that God had better days ahead, no matter how tough things were. This verse starts with this. After his suffering. It starts with hard times, but it ends up going, they showed himself alive to these men and gave many convincing proofs he was alive. Whatever you have been through, get our eyes back on the fact that Christ is alive. God is still on the throne. God is working in your life, and God has great plans for your tomorrows, even when your yesterday wasn't so good. So can't wait to get to the rest of the book with you. God bless you.
Hey, thanks for watching that refuel. We would love you to subscribe below. Hit the subscribe button for this YouTube channel, because this Bayside YouTube channel is where we send out all of our video content so you can get all of it. Make sure you subscribe. Thanks for watching.